You know, why this brand, why this product, why the ARGA? I mean, I loved it too. And it all became clear to me when I discovered one vital piece of information about the guy that designed it. He was blind. There's a great idea. I know, we're going to invent a cooker. Oh, call it a blind man. Right, okay, let's mold surfaces, things like that. But what this cooker actually is, it's actually a piece of software. It's actually a piece of software. If you look at this computer as a 150-year-old computer screen, it actually has a taskbar on it. You can navigate your way around by a series of icons. It's just that when you look at the icons, you don't see them. You touch them. The reason I nearly said this computer, the reason this cooker is so iconic and the reason we love it is because it is all about touch and it's all about feel. It's alive. And we register that on a sort of a subconscious level. But until I realised this guy was blind, it never clicked why we loved it so much. The silver bar that goes across the top. The first thing I did when I found out was I closed my eyes and went, right, I'm going to go and boil a pan of water and see if I survive without going to the emergency room. But as soon as you touch the silver bar that goes across the top, you can navigate your way around the whole cooker. And no surface on that cooker is the same temperature. Everyone differentiated. So you can feel before your hand even touches it and gets burnt exactly what's going on. Every single control on it is differentiated. So even if you were a one-armed blind man, you can still operate the cooker. So the interesting thing about this for me, looking at the inventor of it, was first of all the fact that he was not born blind. He lost his sight. He was an inventor. He was building, ironically, horribly ironically, he was developing new light bulbs for searchlights, for lighthouses, for ships. And back in the day, they were all powered by gas. There was an explosion and he lost his sight. So as a result of that, he ended up designing this cooker, presumably because he wanted to cook things and went, well, I'm a blind guy. How do I cook things as a blind guy on an open flame? You can't do that. So he designed it. Absolute piece of genius. But the key about this is not so much that he was the blind bit, it's the fact that he had vision. And it's the difference between seeing something and having insight and vision. And the vision is all up here. And that's why we love the ARGA. Ah, yes. Now, the phone that invented Finland. And I still have one. That is my phone. And before you laugh, I hope your iPhones are switched off because they'll run out of battery in, about 5 minutes. This lasts 5 days. So, it's just a great phone. It just does what it says on the tin, as the advert went back in the day in America. So, I've got another device that I use for emails and things like that. But if I want to talk to somebody, I just use that phone because it works for me. And because it's just sensible. So if something isn't broke, don't fix it. It's just fine. And if you're selling something to somebody and they turn up and say, I have a plumbing business and I'm thinking, I need to sort of upgrade my computer. You say, oh, fantastic, you need a server. What? No, you need a server. What he actually needs is a mobile phone that lasts for 3 days. Because as you know, a plumber is always on the road and he's always getting a phone call with his head's under the sink. And he goes, yeah, I know, I'm just fixing the plumber. That's what he needs. So if you give somebody what they need, later on, when he's a successful plumber and he's employing 50 other plumbers, all of whom will have, no doubt, the same phone that lasts for 5 days. Then he needs a server, because then he needs to do the administration for all his 50 plumbers from his successful business, because he was able to develop it, because his phone didn't come running out, and therefore he could expand and talk to his clients. So, give people what they want, what they need. And when you're designing a product, have a vision of what it is really going to do. Is it actually going to improve people's lives? We talk to people who get very narrow about things. And some designers have vision, some designers just concentrate on a very, 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 very small area of something. And they come up with an incredibly innovative way of doing something that nobody cares about. And you go, well, actually, if you start with the big picture, if you start with a human being, if you start with, is this really going to improve somebody's life? You know, why do we want to change all the colours of all the icons on all of our computer screens? Because everybody understands what they mean. Why do we still use the same letters of the alphabet? Because we all understand them, right? And we do things with them. So why do we insist on changing everything every 5 minutes, every time we design something new? So people don't understand it. And they have to download 6,000 pages of a PDF file. Only to realise that next week it's all going to change all over again. Why do we do that? It's so unnecessary. We want to design things that people want to be able to use again and again and again to make their lives easier, more functional and better. We sometimes lose sight of the end result by this endless